today is Gary Cottle, the CEO, of course, of Valereum PLC. Gary, great to be catching up again so soon. So news has dropped this morning. Looks like things are accelerating pretty rapidly on the deal that you announced recently.
Morning. News has dropped a bit more rapidly than we thought. So it's all heading in the right direction. We look like they're in their number one priority now. So what they tell us, the QGP Fund have said they've got a few things on the go, notwithstanding Thanksgiving weekend kind of got in the way a little bit. But we have obviously we've announced that they've already formed in the Cayman the Valereum QGP segregated portfolio. So that's all been formed. That's now a matter of public record. They've got all of their necessary approvals and board resolutions. We've undertaken most of the KYC and AML and all those other good things. They're in the process of setting up their brokerage accounts and a few other bits and pieces. So more than on track, right? We allowed, I think, 45 days. I think we're now talking about probably the next couple of weeks. So, sort of sooner than we thought. We always think these, particularly when you get into the US and lawyers and funds, these things always take a little longer, but the QGP guys are all over it to.
Well, that's very good, isn't it? I guess you say that you're the next number one priority. So they clearly want to get this going as soon as they can and get deploying that capital into the projects that they like the look of in the mining sector.
Yeah, and it is very good. And you can see that they've made a number of changes, if referring to their website and what they do outside of us. They're a very big fund. They're in the billions of dollars. I think it's worth having a look at just the other things they're doing, which again, very relevant to tokenization, very relevant for us, we think, going forwards. But yeah, no, we kind of, as I say, it wasn't a vanilla deal, but it wasn't a particularly complex deal, but it was a deal that does take some maneuvering and some organization. So yeah, this is, whatever that's saying about one small step for man, one giant step for tokenization kind, or something like that. So we're definitely in the right direction. It feels like we're crossing the threshold from what is effectively what was a binding MOU to actually announcing the closure of the deal, which we would look forward to. So we haven't hit any hurdles at all, actually, in the last couple of days. Yeah, so everything is going better than we expected and faster than we expected.
Excellent, good stuff. And you say you expect to conclude this within the coming days. I wonder if you can perhaps just quickly, to finish off, just remind investors what are the key salient points from this deal with the QGC.
Yeah, so the initial funding is effectively a token swap for $200 million that they're swapping for the right to buy up to half the company. So we'll have a couple $100 million to deploy. At the moment, we've got to agree a strategy with how we're going to go and deploy that. We're also having some further conversations about further funding, particularly because they've got a very expansive, they've the multi-billion-dollar fund. They have a lot of capital to put to work in this space. We're very much in this tokenized, particularly around real-world assets and natural resources. So I guess the core things, we've sent over a strategy document about what we think the future of the digital asset treasury should look like and how that should be managed and how that should grow. It won't be the buy Bitcoin and hope for the rest, and I hope for the best strategy. It'll be very different from that. We've got to agree there's likely to be two of the QGP fund joining the board of Valereum, so we've got to make provision of how that will work with a fund and an institutional shareholder. That'll be very different for us. We have put together effectively an investment committee, so how we look, assess and prosecute deals together that fit their criteria for investment, and just generally have the roadmap. They've had our roadmap, and it's the what next. I think we're all off to Tokenization London to obviously meet our fellow tokenization people. So it's the what are we going to do as a business to accelerate our own growth. Number two is what we're going to do together in this digital asset treasury space, which will be a different approach to what people have done. And number three is how can we help them grow their business, which is really royalty and streaming. And we've had a number of conversations about extending that into other non-natural resource sectors.
Good stuff. Well, I look forward to seeing that conclude hopefully in the next few days. Just finally, you mentioned that strategy sort of document. Do you think that's something that's internal at the moment? Do you think you perhaps look to share that with the market at some point?
No, once we've agreed it with QGP, I think all three of those pillars, we'll be looking to share that so people understand what we're going to be doing. And say there's no point having the support of whether it's 200 or more than $200 million, whatever that number turns out to be, and not telling people what we're going to be doing with it. So very much so, you will be chomping at the bit to get back on and talk through what we'd like to do with it.
Excellent. Well, thank you again, Gary Cottle, for your time, the CEO of Valereum PLC.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me again.
Great.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.